In boxing, redemption is never guaranteed. The road back from defeat is brutal, unforgiving, and often leads nowhere. But, against all odds, two fighters in particular have perfectly embodied one of the most celebrated aspects of the sport.
Good shots again from Dubois. Oh, Miller's rocking, Miller's gone backwards, he's hurt now, Miller.
It wasn't too long ago that both Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker endured major setbacks that could have ended their careers.
Oh, what a shot, he's gone, the left hand.
Parker, a former world champion, was cast aside after crushing defeats to a trio of British heavyweights.
Oh dear, it's the left eye and he's gone down.
And Dubois, once a rising star, faced stern backlash about his heart and resilience. Yet through sheer determination, they rebuilt themselves, defying critics, silencing doubts, and taking on the toughest challenges the heavyweight division had to offer. Dubois now stands as the IBF World Heavyweight Champion, and Parker has stood the test of time to firmly re-establish himself as one of the division's elites. What once seemed like a road to obscurity has instead become a journey of redemption on one of the biggest nights in modern boxing. This is the story of Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker.
We're working on technique and skills, combinations, breaking everything down. George has got a great plan, Andy's got a great plan.
At 33 years of age and 38 fights into his career, Joseph Parker enters the bout with a clear advantage in experience. His amateur career saw gold medal successes at multiple national and international tournaments. But with limited opportunities to fight at the Olympics, he turned professional in July of 2012.
Joseph Parker!
And at the tender age of 20, he delivered an impressive debut performance to signal the start of a promising career.
Just destroyed Duke Garman's way.
Dominant wins followed, including stoppages over former world title contenders Francois Botha and Brian Minto, marking Parker as an emerging prospect to be taken notice of. By 2016, he'd built an undefeated 18-fight record with 16 knockouts, with many fans regarding him as one of the standout heavyweights to reign as world champion in the post-Klitschko era.
Sure, they've been trying
His first true test at world level eventually came against Carlos Takam, where a points victory made him a mandatory challenger against the IBF world champion Anthony Joshua. Rather than waiting for his shot at the Briton, Parker instead built his profile further with wins over Solomon Humano and Alexander Dimitrenko. This allowed him to position himself for the vacant WBO world title against America's unbeaten heavyweight Andy Ruiz Jr.
The Destroyer, Ruiz Jr.
In a hard-fought, closely contested battle, Parker edged out a majority decision victory, becoming the WBO heavyweight champion of the world.
So it amounts to a 2-point win for Joseph Parker and earns for him control of one of the heavyweight belts.
Daniel, your professional debut just a week away. Is it excitement or a nerve starting to bring some butterflies in your belly?
It's excitement, you know, I've been training hard. I feel prepared, I feel ready, so can't wait to get out there.
Just 5 months after Parker's crowning moment, a young Daniel Dubois, at just 19 years of age, made his professional debut.
Caught by the left hand, and he's in trouble and gone down.
Like Parker before him, Dubois was regarded as one of his nation's most promising amateur talents, having won numerous national and international competitions as a junior. Though he had strong prospects to represent Great Britain at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, he ultimately chose to turn professional, signing with the highly esteemed Frank Warren of Queensberry Promotions.
Quite a few stories were floating around about his sparring sessions with some established heavyweights, and made a beeline to signing.
And now, that surely is massive right.
From the outset, Dubois tore through the ranks with a series of destructive performances. Equipped with a remarkably sharp jab, a thunderous right hand, and solid fundamentals, he quickly established himself as one of the hottest prospects in world boxing.
Is about to go the same way. Massive right hand.
His first real test came against fellow undefeated prospect Nathan Gorman, a 16-0 fighter known for his speed and technical ability. But in just 5 dominant rounds, Dubois dismantled him with ruthless efficiency.
Well, he certainly has done now.
After just 12 fights into his career, with 11 of those victories coming by knockout, talks of world title ambitions were already brewing.
The young lion who has proved superb on the night.
With Britain already basking in the success of its heavyweight champions Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, Dubois was seen as the next in line, another dangerous contender in the newly revived and thriving heavyweight division.
We go in there to work for our families, but also our lives on the line. One wrong move can be taken away from you, so you have to be smart.
Despite the successes of both men, it's at this point of the story where we begin to encounter the many pitfalls that surround such a brutal and demanding sport.
Most eyes, though, on how impressive Parker could look here.
Following his world title triumph, Joseph Parker made 2 successful defences against Razvan Kujanu and Hughie Fury to set up a high-profile unification showdown with Britain's Anthony Joshua. Joshua, who held the WBA and IBF belts, was at the absolute peak of his popularity, having recently cemented his status as the division's biggest star with a monumental victory over Vladimir Klitschko. And a win against Joshua, the most sought-after champion, would have catapulted Parker's name to unimaginable heights.
Just under 80,000 here on this momentous occasion.
But in a cautious tactical affair, Parker was outmaneuvered over 12 rounds, losing a wide unanimous decision, and with it, his WBO world title.
The fighting pride of the United Kingdom.
By no means did a loss to an informed Joshua spell the end of Joseph Parker, but in his subsequent bout where he returned to the UK against Dillian Whyte, the former champion suffered another loss, this time in a more physically demanding, grueling encounter. In the span of just 4 months, he had gone from undefeated world champion to a fighter with 2 consecutive losses. Determined to rebuild, Parker embarked on a steady path back to contention, notching 6 consecutive wins, including 2 against the ever-popular Derek Chisora. But just when it looked like he was within touching distance of another world title shot, he ran into the seemingly indestructible Joe Joyce, who at 14-0 came into the bout with a 92% knockout ratio.
Takes it. And what a chin this man has got.
Despite Parker having the greater experience of the 2, very little could be done to repel a force that was hell-bent on securing a world title shot of his own.
Joyce has responded. Oh, what a shot. He's got the left hand.
11 exhausting rounds and a thunderous left hook meant that Joseph Parker's chances of returning to the top of the division were all but extinguished. 3 years before Parker's devastating knockout defeat, Daniel Dubois appeared to be on a very different trajectory.
Well, they keep putting them in front of him. He keeps bowling them over.
His career was surging forward with momentum, and following his dominant win over Nathan Gorman, he racked up 3 more stoppage victories.
Dubois looking to finish it right here. Another big body shot.
With each performance, his reputation as boxing's next big heavyweight grew. And riding high on his rapid development, Dubois and his team charged straight into a high-profile domestic clash, one that would test his credentials against the same man responsible for Parker's later downfall.
Team Dubois, watch this.
Yeah, Team Dubois, please.
Yeah, watch it.
Check very careful.
Even though this encounter took place 2 years before Parker's fight, Joe Joyce's reputation as an unrelenting powerhouse was still notable.
Come on. Yes.
But unlike Parker, who was well aware of how durable Joyce's punch resistance was, an inexperienced Dubois went into the early rounds with full force.
He's beating Joe Joyce to the punch on a lot of occasions, cracking right hand there from Dubois and testing Joe Joyce's chin.
Where other opponents would crumble under the heavy-handed combinations, Joyce's remarkable chin absorbed everything as he continued marching forward and firing back with his own clubbing shots.
It's always in his face. He's out jabbing Dubois, who has a terrific jab himself.
Most notably, his hammering jab, targeting Dubois' left eye round after round, became a devastating weapon.
Joe Joyce with these jabs. There's another one. Daniel Dubois' face is definitely starting to mark up a bit.
By the 10th round, with his eye badly swollen, Dubois dropped to a knee and was counted out.
Oh dear, it's the left eye and he's gone down. He's gone down with the jab. He's had enough, he doesn't want any more.
At just 23 years old, Dubois had suffered the kind of loss that invites the harshest of criticisms. Doubts began to swirl, questions about his heart, his durability, and whether he truly had the mettle to survive in a competitive division. Determined to silence his critics, Dubois rebounded with 4 consecutive knockout victories. But when his opportunity to challenge for a world title finally arrived against the masterful Alexander Usyk, old concerns resurfaced.
Good combination from Alexander Usyk. Little dip of the knees. Dubois down.
Once again, Dubois found himself on the receiving end of a precise, calculated assault.
Great shot. Right hand. Great shot. Daniel Dubois down.
And once again, he fell to his knees, unable to beat the count. It was a commendable effort against one of the sport's pound-for-pound greats. But in the eyes of his harshest critics, the outcome was damning. For the second time in his career, Daniel Dubois had failed to rise. Following their crushing defeats, both Joseph Parker and Daniel Dubois found themselves counted out by the boxing public. Fresh contenders were emerging, opportunities were becoming scarce, and the road back to the top was more dangerous than ever. But in late 2023, on the very same card, both men embarked on a perilous campaign, not just to return to title contention, but to demand respect once again. Dubois was matched with the outspoken American Jarrell Miller.
I'm just tuning Saturday night, man. I'm gonna cook this shrimp. The 2-time quitter.
You see now he's goading him now, you see, baby Miller, trying to get into his head, because that can knock, oh, there you go. So this can affect the way boxers actually start the contest.
Miller brought with him an undefeated record as well as an almost 100-pound weight advantage over the young Brit. His plan was simple: absorb Dubois' best shots and take him into deep waters.
Yeah, they're both taking a few risks here. Good shot by Miller. Good shot by Miller. Right at the end of the round, you saw the spray.
But Dubois had no intention of letting history repeat itself. Weathering the early pressure, his attacks began to pierce through Miller's weighty frame, and by the 10th round, forced a very impressive stoppage.
The referee's having a look. Is Dubois going to get the late stoppage? Yes, he is.
In the next fight on the card, Joseph Parker faced the division's most notorious puncher, Deontay Wilder.
213 pounds for Deontay Wilder.
Though Wilder's aura had taken a hit following back-to-back defeats to Tyson Fury, he still maintained his fierce knockout reputation, and a tentative agreement to fight Anthony Joshua immediately after was already formed. Parker, in the eyes of many, was merely an opponent, an obstacle to be knocked aside on Wilder's path to bigger opportunities.
It's only a rangefinder really, looking to set up the right hand, but that one flashes over his shoulder.
But the Kiwi had other ideas. Over the course of 12 rounds, Parker executed a shrewd game plan, using movement, speed and determination to completely neutralize the bronze bomber.
What a punch! Stiffens the legs of Wilder! Joseph Parker can sense the victory! Wilder took the...
What was supposed to be Wilder's grand return instead became Parker's crowning moment of resurgence, as he claimed a decisive victory and shocked the boxing world.
From New Zealand, he is Billy.
With their confidence restored, both men were once again thrust into high-stakes matchups in the first half of 2024. For Parker, his newfound momentum saw him take on the daunting challenge of Zhilei Zhang, the same Chinese powerhouse who had twice obliterated Parker's former conqueror, Joe Joyce.
Oh, and just like that, big bang!
The fight seemed destined for a similar outcome when Zhang sent Parker to the canvas early with a signature left hand. But Parker had learned from his past setbacks. Equipped with a smart game plan and unwavering grit, he dug deep, relying on his experience, durability and tactical adjustments from his corner. Over 12 grueling rounds, he outmaneuvered and outworked the towering Zhang to secure a hard-fought decision victory.
And new WBO interim heavyweight champion, the Fighting Pride of New Zealand.
Just 3 months later, it was Dubois' turn to prove himself again, this time against the undefeated Filip Hrgović. And during an equally demanding fight, was forced to eat repeated right hands from the talented Croatian, boasting 14 knockouts from his 17 wins.
There was a good one, and that was not handled well by Dubois.
Once again, Dubois dug deep, and in perhaps the best performance of his career, powered his way through the bloodied Hrgović to force a doctor's stoppage in the 8th round.
Daniel Dubois has stopped Filip Hrgović and picked up the biggest win of his career!
Come on.
Both Parker and Dubois had run the gauntlet against dangerous opposition, and both emerged victorious in equally impressive fashion. But for Dubois, his efforts came with a more tangible reward, the newly vacated IBF World Heavyweight title. And to prove his status as an officially recognized world champion, Dubois was granted a huge opportunity against fellow Brit and former unified champion, Anthony Joshua. Despite Dubois' recent resurgence, the more seasoned Joshua entered as the overwhelming favourite. Fresh off dominant knockout victories over Otto Wallin and Francis Ngannou, Joshua was already being lined up for mega fights against Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk.
AJ Anthony.
For years, Joshua had been the face of British boxing, a generational talent with the skill, professionalism and drawing power to command stadiums. But there did also exist a faint opinion from some corners of the boxing public that the younger Daniel Dubois, with the correct guidance, could rise to supplant Joshua from his throne.
If you want to go now, let's go.
Relax.
If you want to go now,
Put this chair across your face.
You can't intimidate me.
Daniel, don't
Who do you think you are?
You can't put this chair across your face.
And in September of 2024, the two heavyweights brought with them not only a shared history, but two explosive styles guaranteed to create fireworks in front of a sellout Wembley crowd. Whatever odds the bookmakers had set, Dubois had no intention of playing the underdog.
Don't take your eyes off it. 31 first-round stoppages between them.
From the opening bell, he imposed himself with an intensity that seemed to catch Joshua off guard. And in the final seconds of the first round, detonated a looping right hand to send Joshua to the canvas for the first time. What then followed were 4 more breathtaking rounds in a remarkable display of tenacity from the young champion. In the 5th round, Joshua seemed to edge back into the fight with a thunderous right hand of his own to send Dubois retreating.
He hasn't got his head back to...
Only for his sudden fervour to lead him into a disastrous exchange in which Dubois would land the final decisive punch. In his first defence of the IBF World title, Daniel Dubois had executed one of the greatest upsets in British boxing history. Under the gaze of 90,000 fans at Wembley Stadium, he toppled a formidable opponent and completed one of the most remarkable career turnarounds in recent years.
Triple D, Daniel Dynamite Dubois.
For all the setbacks they've had to endure, Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker represent all the goodness of an industry where such courage and triumph very rarely get to be celebrated.
I said, they may boo him in the ring when he comes in the ring, but I promise you they'll cheer him when he goes.
In a field where its participants are encouraged to minimise risk and maximise returns, these two men have offered an alternative where a combination of humility and fearlessness yield greater respect.
The writing is on the wall here for Anthony Joshua.
The defending champion faced his biggest demons by displaying the mental and physical fortitude to outlast dangerous opponents in back-to-back grueling fights.
Wobbled by a left hand, cut by another one. The referee's having a look.
But now he's being asked to confront a very different type of challenge. Against Parker, it won't be sheer size and power he'll be encountering. Instead, it'll be an experienced, mobile fighter whose speed and ring IQ pose an entirely new set of problems.
And that uppercut that he went for again.
And for Parker, it's the dream of becoming a 2-time world champion that had fueled his remarkable resurgence. His vast experience, now sharpened under the guidance of Andy Lee, has brought him to the cusp of reclaiming gold. But standing in his way is a young, hungry champion, one whose confidence has skyrocketed with his newfound status. Against Dubois, Parker will need every ounce of his skill, strategy and endurance to complete his comeback story. And on a stacked night of boxing, where past, present and future world champions collide on what may be the greatest boxing card of modern times, this unique showdown between Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker could be the one that steals the entire show.